All right, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. Yeah, I promise we're not going to mess with any back buffer copies. I was very tempted to go back to messing with back buffer copy this morning, but I refrained from doing so that we didn't get dragged into another quagmire. Anyway, I'm just going to do some interesting stuff today. I want to do some visual effects for the alchemical residue currency, update some icons throughout the game that use the alchemical residue. Yeah, and I want to just make the alchemical residue animation a little bit nicer when you gain that currency, similar to the blood. So we're going to just, I don't know, we're going to be kind of just doing some lighter stuff today, I think. I don't know, maybe this visual stuff that I want to do is going to be very complicated, but I don't think so. Anyway, we're going to check it out. We're going to see what happens, and then, yeah, we'll see how long that takes, and we'll figure out something to do after that. But yeah, if you are interested in Alchemortis, it's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler with an alchemy system where you can create your own synergies. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely give it a wish list. The Steam link is below. You can also support me and the game on Patreon, and if you subscribe at this top tier here, you will get an Alchemortis Steam key sent to you when the game launches, so you won't need to buy it on Steam if you subscribe to this tier for at least 1 month. And I will also put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits, and you also get unlimited access to my course content and all that good stuff. So consider doing that if you are able. That would be much appreciated. And I also have my Udemy courses available for sale individually, so if there's a course that you want to take a look at, that would help me out a lot. And it's a great way to learn how to build games in the Godot engine as well. Definitely check those things out. I've also got the Discord linked in the description below, so that's totally free to join. I hope to see you there. And yeah, I think without further ado, we could get into it. Hello, Jackie Daytona. Welcome back. Good morning. Hello, A the Ant. The back buffer got copied. Oh no. This entire stream will be a back buffer copy of the previous stream. Goodness. Buffer the copy back. Yo dog, I heard you like buffer copies, so we're back with buffer copy and back-to-back streams. We're gonna wave function collapse into a back buffer copy with a double quarter. I like cryptic issues when time allows for it. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of having fun trying to debug the back buffer copy issues, but there's a certain point where that becomes annoying. Back buffer copy us. Hello, Bubblegum Lord. I saw you stream second time yesterday. What was done there? Yeah, just trying to get the card dimming to work. I think, well, basically what I got done is the player now has a choice of 1 of 3 cards after each combat. And in order to make that work from a visual perspective, I needed to make the cards dimmable. And I think that is done now for the most part. Oh, I want to make the boosters free as well. That's something else I want to do for this stream. So yeah, if I beat this combat here, I wonder if I can beat it with a slime. I can't. So after I beat a combat, I get a choice of 1 of 3 cards, and then I can go ahead and grab one, and that will go away, and then we continue on. So basically the second stream was just covering that and the visual effects for that. Those visual effects are not done. I want to do some art for that, and as well as the overflow board. So yeah, so I want to do at some point like a visual effects pass through the game and just make everything feel a lot more gamey. Add animations to more things, add a lot more, yeah, just a lot more juice, a lot more animation, generally speaking. Particles, animation, and stuff. So we'll do that at some point. But we're still building the game. What are we back buffering today? Today I want to do some visual effects for the alchemical residue currency. What do you think about SDL? I don't know anything about SDL, so sorry to say. I don't know anything about like rendering frameworks or, you know, game frameworks. I don't know anything about C++. I am just a primitive engineer. My favorite language is JavaScript, so do with that information what you will. That should inform you how primitive and unsophisticated I am. I'm back at work after holidays now. At least I've got game development happening on one screen. But yeah, going to work after the holidays is always the worst because you come off of like 3 weeks where you're either doing no work, but you're still at work, or you have days off. And then you come back in the new year and actual work is expected of you now, and it's like, gotta ease back into it. Gotta take a coffee break every 15 minutes. Opinion on BackBufferCopy? Seems useful, documentation sucks. That's my opinion. All right. So the alchemical residue, I think there's going to be a couple of pieces to this. Currency manager. Favorite language is JavaScript unsubbed. So many cups of coffee, yeah. So the currency manager in here, when I add blood, I can do this animate from position. This will call play earned currency. This earned currency, we have this earned currency scene here. So if I go to earned currency, this is just the individual blood drop here. So what I may do is I may actually change this. Let's detach the let me just make sure I know what I'm doing here first. Display blood, instance.display blood. Okay, so I'm gonna need to do this as well for the residue. But I think this is gonna be safe to do. So I'm gonna add a child node, node 2D. We're going to make this the scene root, detach the script from here, call this earned currency, and then we will, we're just gonna do this. Do I do this a lazy way? We'll do it the lazy way, it's fine. Here we go, residue there. Okay, so we're gonna attach the script back to the scene here. Okay, so global position, yeah, this is all good here. Visible equals false. So blood target group name. So this is gonna need to be configured. Public void. I'm just gonna do this very basic. Set as residue. Let's do this as well. Init node. We're gonna need my Godot utilities library. And then also gonna need node sprite 2D blood, node sprite private sprite 2D residue. Okay. Come on. Thank you. Why does this not work? Oh, I forgot to mark this with the scene annotation. That's why. Okay. Blood.visible equals false. Residue.visible equals true. I might as well just for safety purposes, we'll do blood.visible is equal to true. Residue.visible equals false. So I like to do that. If I ever have a scene where there's some kind of default configuration that needs to be there, like the blood needs to be visible and the residue needs to be invisible, rather than leaving that up to me saving that configuration properly in the scene tree, because I like to go in and like toggle stuff on and look at it, I like to just reinforce the defaults in the ready method as well. And that just adds an extra layer of safety. So if I ever go in and I toggle this on and I go, okay, that's what that looks like, and then I close the scene, that would actually break my game if I didn't enforce the defaults in the script. So I just like to do that. It's a little bit safer, I think, a little bit more robust than simply relying on the configuration that's in the scene tree. But anyway, we've got the blood residue. So set as residue, let's just do private bool is residue. And we'll go ahead and set is residue equals to true. Okay, so now we're gonna do var target group name is equal to is residue. Residue target group name, blood target group name. We'll pass that in here, target group name. Okay, that should work. I may actually want to do a different tween or a different kind of easing for this. 4 cell, that's fine. Okay, so we've got that in place. Currency manager, player earned currency. So this is the part where I don't have a way of I just need to add bool is residue here equals false. If is residue, earn currency set as residue. This is a little bit sloppy, but this whole system is relatively simple, so I'm not going to worry about over architecting this. Add blood, animate from position. Azir. My cat is currently screaming. Very cool, very cool. This is the second time he's jumped up on me in 45 seconds. You're distracting, cat. You know that? You're distracting. We don't need this for cell. Instance.residue is equal to plus equals amount. Emit signal residue changed. Player earned currency is residue true. So I am going to need this display residue here. We will worry about that in a second. So basically what I'm doing is I don't want to update the count of the currency until the animation is finished, but under the hood, the currency needs to be up to date. So I have two numbers. I have the actual blood number, and then I have the display blood number. And the display blood number is purely used for the UI display, and the real blood number here is used for all of the logic depending on whether you have blood or not. So what that does is that allows me to animate the UI number as the blood flows into it, but I don't depend on the animation for doing any other blood currency check logic, right? So that's why I have a display blood value and a blood value, and I'm going to need to do the same thing for the residue so that I can animate the residue number up. But let's see. So player and currency, cool. I think maybe that's okay. So now if I go to the alchemy container, I'm going to need to change this sequencing as well. Where am I adding the residue? It's not in here. Add residue. Oh, I'm doing that in the alchemy manager. Oh, that's not good. We're gonna have to do this in the alchemy container, unfortunately. Set alchemy output cards await animation finished. No, I don't want to do it here. I want to do this on card transferred reset state. So maybe I want to do, I might need to do another method here. Private void award residue. This is actually slightly changing the residue logic, but that's okay. Award residue here. And then in here, what we're going to do is I'm going to need to do this a couple of times. For each var card in board.board inventory component.get cards on board. We're going to do currency manager add residue. We're going to just do one. Animate from position. I think card.card node center position. There we go. Okay. Let's see if that works. I don't enjoy JavaScript, but I do enjoy working with React whenever I get the chance. Yeah, React is cool. I like React a lot. I feel like I can't learn anything from these streams unless I start using C#. Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot I'm doing that's like specific to C#. But yeah, I understand what you mean. My favorite programming language is BF. I don't know what that is. Good morning, Emerson. Yeah, I do the same. Always forget to turn correct visibility. Yeah. All right, let's do some alchemy. So if I throw all these things together and I take this card away. Oops, we got a crash. Script inherits from native type script 2D or sprite 2D. Right, this needs to be a node 2D. Let's go again. All right, throw all these into the alchemy. Boom, boom, boom. Take this out. That didn't work at all. That didn't work at all. Residue target group name, currency target location is there. Currency manager. Instance currency effect. Currency effect node. What is that? Oh, that's an exported. Run manager. Currency manager. We got the effects node here. Where is... alchemy drawer? Where is this used? Let's see. View owners. Drawer UI. Alchemy drawer. This has a layer of 18. This is a layer of 10. So my alchemical residue is rendering behind the alchemy drawer, which is a little bit problematic. So this is not going to be as straightforward as I thought it would be. But it's also not going to the proper location, so I should probably figure that out first. Let me see if it's being added to the proper group first. To me, it really doesn't matter what language it is in. I'm pretty confident, or pretty content with GDScript for the time being. Will be nice if traits made in already, though. Yeah, I think GDScript is going to continue to become more and more mature, I think. Oh, that's not even working. So yeah, I think we will get to a point eventually where GDScript is like very, very powerful and simple at the same time. I think it's moving in the right direction for sure. Oh, interesting. So this... Are these export variables not assigned on a init? On scene instantiated? It must not be. So we'll get rid of that instead, and we'll put this in the ready method, I suppose. We'll try that first. So yeah, I don't think, I don't know when exactly the export variables are actually assigned. It must not be on instantiation. They must not be ready at that point. So my guess is that because the exported variables were not yet assigned by Godot, that flag that I had set had a default value of false, which is why it was never being used. There we go. So we saw those residues fly over. The problem is those little residue icons are rendering behind the alchemy drawer. They're rendering behind the alchemy drawer. Oh no, that's a problem. Is there a reason why this has to be layer 18? So I'm using canvas layers all over the place, and all of them have different layers, and there's no rhyme or reason to them. That's one of the main problems with this whole setup. But we will figure it out. Why does it need to be... Drawer padding, inventory pass-through control, artifact pass-through control, alchemy drawer. I don't know why. Let me try something. Put it on layer 10. That's probably going to break all kinds of things. Now it renders behind. But we can see the residue now. Why did this need to be... Let me try something really quick. I'm going to stage all these changes. Why does this need to be a layer or a canvas layer? Can I do a margin container here instead? Change type, margin container. Make this full rect. And then change this mouse to ignore. Let's see what that does. Where are you going? You can't leave. You can't leave. You want to pat? Let's pat your belly. Oh, he's squirming. Okay, you don't want your belly pat. Okay, all right, all right, all right. Goodbye. Be free. All right. Got to be careful when those cats start squirming. You might catch a claw. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's see. So this appears to be working. I have to do this. The alchemy residue works. But I wonder what happens if I go into an event now. Bring up the alchemy. That still works. Oh, but I've got this stuff in the way. Got that stuff in the way. Shoot. Okay. Let me just skip that. I'm just gonna go to various events and just see how the alchemy. So yeah, these buttons are over top of the alchemy here. I should be able to change those, I think, but we'll figure that out. Bring up the alchemy, that goes over the top of those. That still works. I can do this, I can do that. Take this, boom, alchemical reagent goes out. Okay. Let's see if I can get past this combat. There we go. Bring up the alchemy here, that's fine. Grab that one. Cool. So maybe the only issue really is that these are not rendering properly. So let's maybe try to figure that out as well. Run manager, we've got the buttons here. This is layer 15. And I think the event camera is layer 10. Can this be layer 9? This might be able to be layer 9 instead. Let's see. So if I bring up the alchemy, those are not there. Yeah, maybe that's okay. Go here. Just kind of check all these here. Grab these alchemical reagents. We'll see what happens here. Go to the obelisk, just try to break a bunch of stuff, I guess. Alrighty, go to enchant. There's a skip button here. Oh, the skip is still, why is the skip still there? Maybe that's, I guess that's different. Let's look at the skip event button. This is a layer of 11. I'm going to do 9 for this layer as well. I don't know if I really need to be using this many canvas layers, honestly. Those were basically just a quick way of resolving whatever draw order issues I had. But may not be necessary anymore. Let's see. Just keep going this way. Kill that chicken. Goodbye, chicken. Okay. Go here. What happens if I do this now? So the skip button's going to come in. Oh, there's no skip button. skip button is probably behind everything now. Oh wait, I have some errors here. Oh, that's not relevant. Yeah, so the skip button, if I change this back to 11, it shows up here. Why can't I use layer 9? What is this? This is the event background. What is that? Background. Trees background. Is this it? No, that's for the main menu. Combat environment. Here we go. View owners, game UI. Oh, this is all part of this game UI is all part of this layer, which is layer 10. So when I add that skip event button, why do I need that to be... I don't know why I need that to be a... Oh, I know why I made it a canvas layer. Hold on a second. Skip event button, show in file system, view owners, guard upgrade, enchant, and obelisk. So the reason why I made a skip button a canvas layer is because it needs to be on the right side of the screen, always in the same spot, but these containers are designed to be slotted into this right half container here, this right half container. So what essentially happens is if I instantiate the obelisk container here, that's how I position the events on screen. So they just get added as a child to this. So they're automatically on the right side of the screen. They automatically get centered in that as well. But the problem is I need this skip button to be present. And so the approach that I initially took was to just include the skip event button in any scene where I needed it as a canvas layer. So that way it would always be positioned and I had a local reference to it. So I could connect to that skip event button in here. That may no longer be useful. So I think there's a couple ways to handle that. I could, inside of my game UI here, I could offer a method to create a skip button on demand, and then I can add the skip button here underneath the play container. And that sequencing should be okay. I'm going to close a bunch of these. Because if I look at my run manager here, the drawer UI comes after the game UI. So anything that's in the drawer UI will render on top of anything that's in the game UI. So if I put that skip event button as just a normal container inside of this play container here, I can guarantee its position and it will have the proper rendering order. So that may be what I need to do. And I only need to change that in a couple of places. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to change... I'm going to put this blink timer and margin container, or blink timer and click player underneath that margin container. I'm going to detach this script and I'm going to make this the scene root. And we'll get rid of this and we'll call this skip event button. And we'll go ahead and reattach this. Create that. This is a margin container now. And we've got the blink timer, clickable control. This no longer needs to be a unique name. Okay. So that's functionally the same, but I need to change this a little bit. So I go to my game UI, I'm going to put the skip event button in this resource preloader here. And then inside of my game UI, I'm just going to add a method public skip event button, create skip event button. And we will just do this, skip event button, add, we're going to do play container. I don't have a reference to that. Okay, let's grab this. Okay. So now in something like the obelisk, what I would do is instead of having this skip event button here, actually I could do that. Skip event button is equal to, oh, I don't have any context in here. Maybe the proper thing to do. So now that I don't have a skip event button local to the obelisk, or I'm not going to have one local to the obelisk, I need to figure out a way of getting that skip into the obelisk itself. How am I going to do that? Obelisk, event state machine. I guess what I would do in here is I would do context.gameUI.add create skip button, skip event button. Now the other thing is I'm going to need to coordinate the freeing of this button as well. Skip event button dot play out, obelisk container play out. We're going to do skip event button dot queue free. We'll get rid of this. Grab this. Yeah, we'll just have to do it this way. Public void set skip event button. Or maybe we'll call it connect skip event button. And then in here, skip event button dot skipped plus equals on skipped obelisk container dot connect skip event button, skip event button. Get rid of that. So I would have to change this for 2 other events as well, but let's just see if that much works first. Hello, Emerson. Are we truly over with BackBufferCopy? Yeah. Good morning to you also, Evan. Hello, MF Biggs. Welcome back. Oh, neat. I like the container sizing there. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's see if we can get an obelisk here. Here we go, obelisk. That didn't work. Firstly, I forgot to delete the skip event button from here. That's probably why it was broken. Yeah. Delete it from there. Should work otherwise. Okay, so that's there. And then if I open the alchemy, that skip event button is covered now. So I think that makes a lot more sense. And if I click this, it should just function normally. I think that's okay. So now I'm going to need to go into the enchant container and do the same thing. So we get rid of this skip event button here. We'll get rid of this skip event button here. we need to add a skipped validator. So public void connect skip event button. We're going to grab this, put this down here. On tentacle clicked, skip event button.play out. So I guess I am going to need to store a reference to this. I'll do a signal for this instead. Signal public delegate void tentacle clicked event handler. Enchant event state machine. Enchant container dot tentacle clicked. On tentacle clicked. So we're just doing all the cleanup in here. All right. I suppose we can see if that one works now. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you. There's my skip event button. If I enchant this, this should go away. Yeah, it went away. Very nice. Okay. And let's try just normally skipping it as well. I think there might be a bug too with my enchant container and the skip. Because there's that one node effect that can allow you to enchant twice. And I think after the first enchant, the skip goes away. But maybe I still want to allow the player to skip as long as they have options available. But anyway, we'll handle that later. Maybe I'll just write that down so I don't forget it. Okay. If enchant node offers 2 enchants via map node effect, skip button will disappear after first enchant applied. I could fix that now, but we're on a little bit of a side quest right now. Because remember, I'm trying to do the alchemical residue stuff. So this is just all some slight refactoring to get the alchemical residue animations working. Okay, and then the last one is the card upgrade, I believe. Card upgrade container. Yeah. Skip event button, delete that. Get rid of this skip event button. there's going to be a skip validator, public void, connect skip event button, put this in here, put that there, skip event button, and then I have the same play out. So signal public delegate void, clicked event handler, emit signal clicked. Okay. Then we go to the card upgrade event state machine. And then we need to connect that signal. Private void on clicked. Skip event button play out. Was clicked false. Okay. Let's see if that one works. Go to the card upgrade here. So if I upgrade a card, oh, I can upgrade reagents. That's funny. Maybe I should disallow that. But the skip button went away, so that's good. Oops. Here we go. So if I just click this, should be good to go. Yeah, we're good. All right. Did I get all the places where that is used? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Initial work. Hit that. Refactor skip event button for rendering. Order. Okay, we commit both of those things. Now we can go back to our animation for the alchemical residue. Okay, so I want to try something. Change the curves on those just a little bit. No, I guess I don't like those curves. Okay. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to change the direction of the animation for the alchemical residue, because otherwise it could potentially go off screen. So we'll do that. And then the other thing I want to do is I have like a fire effect for the cards where they can burn away, for instance, in the resurrection container. I want to kind of modify that to also do this a similar thing for the alchemical reagent. Okay, but before we do that, let's get the display residue working. So instance dot display residue is equal to instance dot residue. Okay, so take residue. If is residue, instance.display residue plus equals 1, else instance.display blood plus equals 1. If I equals amount minus 1. Okay. Okay, that should work. And then in my currency display residue changed. Okay, let's see if that works. So now we shouldn't see the number visually change until the residue actually finishes the animation. But again, under the hood, the number is up to date. So if I do this, do that, boom. And now, yeah, that number only goes up when that residue animates over. So that's good. So we'll commit that, I suppose. Add display residue. Okay, now we're gonna do like a card burn away effect, which I actually don't remember how I do this. Card burn away. Where is this used? Burn parent, add child, burn away. Burn tasks, add, burn away, start. Okay. Burn parent, resurrection container. Interesting. Okay. So we have another currency called alchemical residue. What are those used for? I might have missed that. The alchemical residue right now is used for unlocking cells on your board. So I'm sure I'll find another use for them. I think I will have to find another use for alchemical residue, but for now, that's what it does. So basically the introduction of that new currency was essentially a way of basically forcing the player to have to engage with the alchemy system. Because if you can only get alchemical residue from doing alchemy, and you can only increase your board size with alchemical residue. So even if the player tries to avoid alchemy or just inadvertently avoids alchemy for a while, eventually they're going to want to get to open up those board slots and they're going to have to do alchemy. So that was the main reason why the alchemical residue was introduced, but I'm sure I can find, you know, there could be artifacts that scale based off of alchemical residue, or there could be an event that there can be an event that requires alchemical residue to use, something like that. So I wonder if I should just, so we've got these flame particles here. That's what the flame looks like. I'm gonna modify these. I'm gonna do residue particles here. And we are going to take this, let's turn this on to emitting. We're gonna make this unique recursive. Okay, cool. So we got the residue particles. We're gonna change these slightly. First thing we're gonna do is we're going to change the color ramp. So probably only want 3 colors. Let's change this one. That one can stay white. This one needs to be this color, and this one needs to be that color. Okay. But we are going to change how this actually looks. I'm going to try to make it look a little bit more wispy, a little bit more airy, I guess. Scale. Yeah, let's do a max scale of 1. Angular velocity. Let's turn this down a little bit. Let's also turn down the number of particles. Okay. Curve texture. It's probably okay for now. Orbit velocity. Radial velocity. Let's get rid of the radial velocity. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Actually, maybe we'll play with a curve for this. Min domain, -20, max domain 20. Nope, that's not right. -20, 20. Let's turn the velocity down a little bit. Oh, do I have a gravity? Acceleration's gravity, -10. Spawn, position, angle, velocity. Yeah, here, let's turn this down as well. Color curves. Let's modify those a little bit. There we go. Maybe we'll turn the lifetime up a little bit. Yeah, make it look a little bit slower, I suppose. And I might even turn this down more. Yeah. I guess we'll see how that goes. I don't think this radial velocity is doing much. Orbit velocity. Ooh, that could be kind of cool. Let's try that. New curve texture. Oh, goodness. I guess these curves are multipliers or something. I don't know. Oh, that looks kind of weird. Hmm. Oh, that looks better. One more try. Okay. That's probably good enough for now. Let's see what it looks like. We're going to turn emitting off. Private GPU particles 2D, residue particles. So, let's see. Oops. Okay. Maybe that'll work. Okay. Okay, so now we got to figure out how to use this. So we'll put that card burn away effect in here. And we're basically going to have to copy what the resurrection container is doing. So we'll do this, alchemy container. Onboard state updated. Where is that? Oh, reset state award residue. Here we go. So for now, what we'll do is we'll do this. We need the resource preloader. Resource preloader, instance scener null, card burn away, burn parent. Can I just add this here? How did I do it in the resurrection container? Oh, same thing. Okay. So make this unique name, alchemy container. Let's do the burn parent, private node 2D, burn parent. burn tasks. List task. Await task when all burn tasks. And then in award residue here, we're going to do async void await award residue and then reset the state. Okay, let's see what happens. Explosions, please, yeah. Another Firebelly stream. Bet by now he's done with backbuffer issues. For now. We'll see what happens, I suppose. Welcome back, Kinyaz, by the way. Oops. Let's see. All right, let's see if it works. So that will do that, and as soon as I choose a card... Oh, it still used the flame particles. Very, very cool, very cool, very cute, very cute. Oh, I have some errors here. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Oh. Emit signal card removed. So I think I might need to listen for that in here. Let me just try this first. Disable the card dimmer component before doing the award residue. It's a little bit weird. I would rather keep that in the reset state, but that's okay. Okay. Are there any issues? No. Okay, so that fixes that. Now the award residue here, burn away dot start. Right, I just forgot to set the flag in here. Ooh, that looks cool. Can't complain about that. What I may do though is I may turn the amount down a little bit. Now, is this amount being scaled at all? Particles that amount times equals base card dimensions.x. Yeah. So because the cards are all different sizes, I'm actually changing the emission shape. Am I changing the emission shape or to just lie to you all? Oh, I'm just changing the amount. I thought I was changing the emission shape. Oh yeah, process material emission box extents. So I'm changing the emission shape to match the width of the card, and I'm also changing the particles to be denser based on the X dimensions of the card. So let's try it with some larger cards here, I suppose. Let's do Iron Maiden. Let's do a cultist. Good morning, Courier Games. Welcome back. Good to see you as always. All right, let's see it in action again. Ah, it didn't fit the cultist onto the board. Let's do Iron Maiden first. Cultist second. There we go. Put this into alchemy, put that in alchemy. Grab this. Okay, very cool. Very cool, very cool. Let's also just try the cultist here. Not enough blood. I'll fix that. Cool. I don't know if I could really complain much about that. Do I have any errors? What I also am curious on is I have orphan nodes here. Does that keep going up? Nope, still just 7 orphan nodes. I don't know where those orphan nodes are. I'll have to track those down at some point, but that's all right. Cool. What do you guys think? Do you guys like that effect? I think it turned out pretty good, actually. I think I'm going to modify the alchemical residue a little bit, though. Like how it's animating and how it's spawning. Maybe I can wait for a little bit. Let me think. Burn tasks, currency manager, add residue. I also might want to sequence this a little bit better. Let's see if I can sequence this a little bit better. Var tween is equal to create tween. Tween. Let's see. Try remove card. We probably want to do. Oops. How do I do this? Make this a traditional for loop. I haven't done this in a while. Thank you. Okay. Board inventory component, card. Okay. Tween dot tween interval I times 0.1 f burn tasks dot add to signal tween dot signal name dot finished. Cannot convert from Godot dot signal awaiter to Can I do this or not? Well, I guess I could just do this. I don't think there's really going to be a problem with that. Both tasks need to be finished, so if I await them separately, it's fine. Okay, currency manager, add residue. Let's also put this in here. Okay, let's see what that does. Looks really cool. You like it? Claude. Yeah, I don't know. I switch between. I'm not really using that much AI assisted coding anymore, but Claude seems to be pretty good. What if I do a larger delay there? Just want to stagger it a little bit. Might make it look a little bit more organic. Let's see. Cool. I think that's working pretty well, actually. I know we have discussed this before, and I hate to bring it up again, but the AI tools have left the modern software dev workflow in such a weird state. Yeah, it has. I mean, I know several engineers who work at companies whose entire engineering departments have basically switched to AI-driven coding. So all the senior engineers are basically using a whole suite of AI tools and context. What are they called? Context servers or whatever. They connect all their tickets to everything, and they connect their documentation, and then they, of course, have access to the code base. It's kind of interesting. You know, so I did a 6-week part-time thing a couple of months ago. And where AI was really helpful was getting onboarded into running everything locally. So basically there was an iOS app which was using React Native, and the documentation for how to get onboarded as a developer was very, very sparse and incomplete because it was a small startup. And so where AI tools really helped was just like plugging in the gaps of how to get onboarded into that system, like what dependencies I needed to install, what keys, secrets I was missing. And, you know, obviously the AI couldn't tell me what the secrets are, but it could tell me that a secret was missing, that I could go hunt it down. I would get, setup errors, and I just plug the error message right into the AI and it would tell me how to resolve it. And so I probably cut my onboarding time down on that project by like 50 to 75%. If I had to rely on getting a hold of one of the prior engineers and wait for them to respond to all my questions, or if I just had to Google things, that would have been very, very slow. But I was able to use the AI, and it was able to walk me through the entire process, and that went very, very smoothly. So that was incredibly useful for getting onboarded. And then there was this period of time where I was trying to figure out how to actually build the app for distribution on test flight, and there was a bunch of issues there that I was able to work through with AI, so that was incredibly helpful. And then of course, like actually writing the code for the React Native on the iOS app was something I'd never done before, so being able to ask the AI, hey, how am I supposed to write this, was very useful as well. MCP servers, right? Yeah. Really am of two minds about the whole thing. I recently used Codex to help me with my saving and loading system, and it did a really good job. I dislike using it because it makes me feel less familiar with the code base. I found a pretty good workflow though, I think. Generate the code and approve it case by case at the end of the session. Generate a PR and review it line by line. Yeah, you should definitely be reviewing the code that the AI is writing. I think that's a smart thing to do, because then you're kind of like, you're still in control of the code. You still know everything that's going on, even if the AI is doing the heavy lifting of like the grunt work of actually writing the code. But yeah, I think you want to stay away from like pure vibe coding generally. Oh my gosh, that looks cool. I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, that animation, in addition to looking cool, it just kind of reinforces that that's where you get the alchemical residue from. So yeah, I like that. It might be a little bit slow, so maybe I'll knock this back down. I have all these orphan nodes. I gotta figure out where those orphan nodes are coming from. Seems like every time I do alchemy, well, I've already got 7 orphan nodes here. So I'm gonna have to nail down where those are coming from. Because an orphan node is basically just like a memory leak. It's a node that still exists in memory, but does not... Oh, I went down to 0 there. It's a node that still exists in memory, but does not, is not in the tree. And so that's the thing about Godot nodes, is that when you remove them from the tree, like nodes are not ref counted, meaning that if they're not in the tree and nothing else references them, they won't be freed. They'll just exist in memory perpetually. So you do need to manage freeing the nodes properly. So I should probably figure out where those orphan nodes are coming from. I think I can print orphan nodes, but anyway. Anyway, let me write that down. So one thing that I'm still not entirely in love with is this disabling card dimmer component here, but I suppose it's okay. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. That works pretty good. Futurist code with AI in it, isn't it? I think so. I think so. I mean, assuming AI has not peaked and won't get any better, which I think you can make an argument for. Because the fundamental problem that still exists with AI is that it fails on non-0% of the time to do what you want it to do. You know, AI still hallucinates, for example, if you're just doing like asking it questions. And that's the big problem with it, is that even if it's right 99% of the time, the 1% of the time that it's wrong can be very, can be awful, right? So like imagine you're working with a piece of software and like 1% of every, let's say one of every mouse, let me rephrase this. 1 out of 100 mouse clicks fails to do the operation that you're clicking on. That would be supremely annoying. You'd be like, this software is a piece of junk, right? It's a 1% failure rate sounds low, but you click a mouse, you know, many hundreds of times per day, and that would become noticeable, right? And so it's the same with like AI. If you do a bunch of AI operations and 1% of them fail, that's incredibly unreliable. Doesn't sound unreliable, but it is incredibly unreliable. And so if those reliability issues can't be fixed, then I think that would be the big barrier to like relying on AI for a lot of stuff. So yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with AI. If that can't be resolved, then I don't think that AI is ultimately going to be that useful at scale, I guess. Present code with AI. The present is code with AI. Maybe the real skill is to learn how to ask questions. Yeah, that is a good skill to have, yeah. I think the real skill is to understand how to architect a system, because agents are not amazing at large scale and really excel in small scale problems. Yes. Shifts the burden from writing code to reading code. Yeah, I agree. Furthers the importance of good software practices like test, code review, and version control. And that's why I think AI can be incredibly useful too, is doing like the rote stuff. Like writing test cases is perfect for AI, because you could just say, I want this method to be tested with this framework, and it can just spit out a bunch of test cases for you. That was always like the work that I liked the least, is whenever I had to write tests, because it was mostly just rote, brain dead, you know, just got to put 20 test cases in this file, you know. Free labor, that's the best part, maybe if you're a corpo. Well, I mean, I think, you know, smaller developers too can make good use of AI to increase their productivity. Right now, making a deck builder based on a tutorial, I think that's not a good practice on how to architect a system, right? It depends on the quality of the tutorial. The problem with like a lot of YouTube tutorials is that, how do I say this nicely? A lot of people will discover how to do something for the first time, even though they're relatively experienced, and then they'll go and spin up a tutorial for it. And then the code that they show you how to write in the tutorial is like a mess because they don't really know what they're doing. They just figured out how to do this one very narrow thing. And now they're like, I'm going to go teach other people how to do it. And like, that can be useful in a way, but yeah, there's a lot of people that put tutorials out on YouTube, especially that just shouldn't be teaching. Let's just say that. So, but it's hard to say. It's based on the quality of the tutorial. I can't say that the system that they're architecting is bad or good because I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Tutorials are great. You got to crawl before you can walk. Yes. I really think that most projects, startup ideas are in the 99% that works at the very start, just doesn't scale well. Yeah, that could be true. Someone who lost 2 entire Minecraft hardcore worlds because inputs were not always responding, even that 1% failure rate is huge, even if it sounds small. Right, yeah. Like you think about the things that you use on a day-to-day basis, like they're basically 100% reliable, right? Like my coffee machine succeeds in making coffee every morning. If it failed like once a week, I'd be like, this thing is a piece of junk, right? And yet AI fails that often, and that's why I kind of don't use it that much anymore. Because like, even if I ask ChatGPT a question, there's always that thought in the back of my mind, like, is this actually right? Or is it just spitting nonsense at me? And that's enough to kind of like turn me off from using it as much as I otherwise would. Because there's like a lack of trust there. That was a big difference between your Vampire Survivors course and a lot of free tutorials. You taught concepts like composition as opposed to just telling us what to do. Well, thank you. That's what I try to do in the course as well, is like actually teach you the concepts of like how to actually build a game. It wasn't just let's race to the finish line and get something on screen that works. It's like, let's actually spend time thinking about the architecture and the design and making it scalable and extensible, refactoring things as necessary, so on and so forth. Tommy, composition, observer pattern, such, I could then take those lessons and implement them in my own way. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. All right, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when we come back, there's a couple of other visual things that I need to do with the residue. So we'll handle those, and then we'll find something else to work on in that vein. But yeah, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. I have you listed in the credits for my game because your course helped me that much. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super glad to hear that. I love hearing messages from people who took the courses and enjoyed them and got some value out of them. How does your equals greater than sign turn into a graphical arrow? Dark magic. That's called font ligatures. And if you have font ligatures enabled in your IDE and you're using a font that supports ligatures, then that's what happens. So basically it just turns into a single character, even though there's two characters here. It's the same for like not equals. Not equals will do a line through the equal sign. Anyway, I just think that some people don't like font ligatures, and I understand that, but to me, I actually think it increases the readability of the code quite a lot. Anyway, and I'm using, if you're interested in the font I'm using, this is Cascadia Code. This is Microsoft's font, which I absolutely love. I love Cascadia Code. It looks really, really nice, in my opinion. Oh my gosh. Will there be a course in BackBufferCopy? Yeah, it's going to be one lesson, and it's going to be a 30-second video and says, don't use this piece of garbage. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just misunderstanding something about how BackBufferCopy works, but we use, yeah, so the GDScript arrow syntax is a little bit different. That syntax indicates what the return type of a function is, whereas in C#, this equals greater than is, it's used to create anonymous functions. So this is an anonymous function here. But anyway, so yeah, there's a couple of things that I need to do. Board unlock cell. This here, I need to change this. No, board unlock component. This needs to be changed to use the residue icon. So we're going to copy this UID, put this here, Also put this here. I might do some other visual flourishes here too, but let's see. Yes, that's two residues. Very nice. I may actually, maybe I'll do some work on that residue icon because I think it's a little bit too wide. Oh, did I not save this as a, I guess I didn't save this as a sprite file. That's all right. Load default palette. Okay. I think what I want to do is maybe just... Oh, that looks kind of good actually, but I do need to make it taller as well so that it's aligned properly. So let's just do this. Thicken that up there. Let me see, do I like this shape? I'm kind of back over to where I was before now. Oh, maybe not. That looks kind of good, I suppose. And then we can... let me think. I think that looks okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to realign it a little bit. Maybe that doesn't look as good as the first one. No, that doesn't look as good. Let's see, make this a little bit more squat. Make it a little bit more squat, and then... No, that doesn't look good either. Well, let's see. No. I can make this wider out here. Maybe. Looks okay. I think I maybe... Did I like the other version better? Let's see. So this one is more aligned. So like... Is it actually? Wait a minute. No. Oops. I'm trying to make it match the dimensions of the blood so that it looks more consistent, I guess you could say. What does that look like? Yeah, I kind of like the old one better. In C# is a lambda, so you can have a lambda methods that are also called anonymous method or lambda properties. Right, yeah. Related tangent, I hate anonymous functions in most cases. Is there a logic why we're using residue to unlock a lock? Yes, the logic is to force players into the alchemy system, to make the alchemy system unavoidable if you want to increase your power. But there may be another use. I'll probably introduce more uses for the alchemical residue as well. Anonymous functions make code less readable. I don't agree with that. They have their use cases, but I feel like most times they'd be better as a true function. I also don't agree with that. Because if you, like, anonymous functions are for the case where you have a very specific function that gets called in no other context, such that adding a new method to your class where it's only, like, called once, or in one very specific situation, in one place, I think that actually makes the code less readable, to me anyway. I think anonymous and lambda functions are perfect for like hyper-specific things that you need to do just in like one case. Like for instance, like a sorting function, I think is a perfect example of it. Or like the tween callbacks here, where I'm using them. Tween callback callable from. Like, would my code be increased in readability if I did something like this? If I said tween callback, tween callback burn away, and then move that code down here somewhere, that would just clutter up all of my methods here when I could just do the thing that I want to do right here, you know? Before, after, yeah. Will there be an alchemy related artifact? Yes. I need to take a pass on artifacts too. I think the artifacts are generally pretty weak, so I'm going to try to think about how to make those a little bit more appealing as well. Artifact that increases residue after alchemy would make sense. Yeah, I agree. Why is it residue on lock? Like it's not a key, it's a residue. Is there a lore or technical explanation why we use residue? No, there's no lore or anything. There's no lore. I'm focusing on the mechanics first, and then we'll backfill lore, but it's also a game. It doesn't need to explain itself. I'm still struggling with idea for a game. Sorry to hear that. You can use ChatGPT as like a brainstorm buddy. Anonymous are fine, but there are hidden gotchas you need to consider for C#, like hidden classes and references leaking. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know if I like this new residue. I'm trying to make it kind of like match the blood size here, but I liked the other iteration of the... I liked this version better. Maybe I'll just try redrawing it. So we want like a really squat base here. We want a really squat base with like a tip up here. Put this off to the side, put that off to this side. Okay, and then something like that. Okay, this might work. This might work. Let's see. And put this here, put that there. Okay. That looks kind of good. Let's see. Maybe this part. Let's see. Let's just move that over. What does that look like? Looks a little bit weird too. That looks kind of good. Maybe that was better. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's slightly better. I think this part over here is throwing me off, this flat side here. That looks good. No, maybe not. Well, I think it's fine. It matches the silhouette of the blood more, which is what I was going for. It's just these little details that I'm not entirely sure about. We'll just keep it like that. I think that's fine. Artifacts are weak. Royal pedigrees are the only reason I can exist in this economy. Yeah, that one, like, that one's really good. I take that one almost every time it's presented to me. So I think my goal is to, like, I'm not going to nerf that one. I really like that one. So I think my goal is to try to make everything else, like, equally attractive. Like, if there's a noble pedigree and 2 other artifacts, I want it to be a difficult choice. Right now it's like, oh, the royal pedigree, that means that I'm taking that one, you know? The key to discovering the game you want to make is to first look at what games you enjoy. Are there any games you wish you had as a sequel? Is the game concept you feel like was cool but poorly made? Why is it blue and not the weird yellow color? Residue is yellow when I think of it in general. I mean, I only have 8 colors to work with and yellow is not one of them unless you count this white. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. Because it's alchemical. I see. Yeah, I'm generally using like the blue for alchemy. So yeah. That would be another reason why it's just kind of like thematically what I've decided on. Hello, @Forzik. Welcome, welcome. I'm learning game dev using Unity, but I'm making good progress with the course I found. I made 3 out of 5 games. Gonna make something on my own before I continue to retain the info. Very nice. That's a good strategy. I kind of like Tingus Goose. I should really remake that. I haven't heard of that one. Okay, well that's fine. I think, yeah, now it's more aligned in there. So I think that's good. Okay. Maybe I'll refine that some more later, but I think it's fine for now. I like that. I like that burn away effect a lot, and then I can unlock this. And that goes away. Cool. I dig it. I dig it. Hello, Silvio TV. Can you do any content about uploading or connecting to Steam API on your game, or because of NDA agreements you're not supposed to? Yeah, my understanding is that the Steam NDA that you sign when you become like a Steam partner or whatever is pretty broad, to the point where I can't basically show anything on a YouTube video of the Steamworks portal. And the reason is because developers on Steam get early access to information like the dates for Next Fests and the dates for various sales, and those things are all supposed to remain confidential until Steam announces them. But developers get like months of advance notice on those kinds of things. And the other part of it too is that there's also a lot of personally identifiable information on those things. So like you'd be able to see potentially my name, my address, some of my tax information maybe. So yeah, I think those two issues combined sort of make it's safer not to do that than to try to do it and like read through the NDA carefully and only show what you're allowed to show. I haven't even read the NDA that much. The message I got from it was basically, don't show anyone anything in this developer portal ever. I'm sure there's exceptions, like I didn't read the NDA carefully, but it was basically that. So yeah, I think that's probably why you don't see a whole lot of Steam tutorials either, is because of that NDA agreement. But with how easy it is to gain access to that Steam dashboard, I mean, you just have to pay a $100 application fee and you get in. I don't know why Steam doesn't relax some of those requirements, because Steam tutorials would be very nice, but I just don't see much info about this on YouTube. Yeah, I think that's the reason. Yeah. I think, yeah, a Steam, how to integrate with Steam tutorial would be like, it would do numbers for sure, but better to be on the safe side and not break any agreements and get my dev account delisted. You know? I'd love to see your tax information. Yeah. Okay. Let's figure out something else to work on now. So what else do I have? Experiment with alchemical residue, which is rewarded by alchemy. Alchemical residue is used to unlock board cells. I think that's done. Experiment with rewarding cards after combat. That's done. Experiment with making all oh, I want to make all booster options free. That's right. Let's do that now. What do you think? Do you think... So this is the old icon. This is the new icon. Which icon do you think is better? Any opinions? Now that I'm looking at it, well, I'll save my opinion until I get some feedback. If I'm going to get feedback, I don't know. What do you guys think? The left icon here is the old one. The right icon is the new one. Evan says left. Anyone else? Left seems more like an icon. The black feels a bit like it's floaty. Left. 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 All right, well. I was going to say I liked the right icon better, but the people have spoken, I suppose. Maybe there's... Well, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. All right, let's just revert this then. We'll go back to the left icon. The people have spoken. It was unanimous. All right, so now we're going to make all booster options free. Pass-through control. Pass-through control. Center container, alchemy container started with no tweeners. Oh, that's unfortunate. I like the right icon too, but it didn't dare to speak up on a majority vote. Yeah. Left looks like a nice little pile of bases wider than on the right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think DevDog talked a bit about the whole Steam process when Range was released. I mean, I think that's all he could show at least. Yeah, I think I remember that as well. I love DevDuck's videos. They're very well put together, very inspiring. I mean, I'm not going to get up at 5 a.m. and do workouts, but everything else about it is inspiring. So yeah, we're going to change the boosters. You should. Oh man. Oh man. Look at this. I gotta lose a bunch of weight. Can you guys tell that I've been eating too much McDonald's recently? Can you tell? 5 a.m. my beloved, am I right? I may not look overweight, but maybe I have the arteries of an overweight person. Who knows? All right, let's see here. So we're gonna go to the board event state machine. No, booster. Booster event state machine. So we're going to get rid of the cost. I could do a tutorial about it. Multiplayer, I'm probably doing multiplayer with Steam would be great content, but I understand it would be hard to talk about it because NDA. Yeah. You for sure have eaten too much McDonald's. Thank you, Shirley. For those that are unaware, Shirley is my fiance. She is not impressed with my McDonald's consumption, as you can see. Anyway, so we're going to make the boosters free, which means I need to just start ripping out this cost stuff. Goodbye. Set booster affinities. We'll get rid of the costs here. Get rid of this. Set cost, we're going to get rid of the cost label. So this is in the booster scene itself. Cost label. We could just get rid of this entirely. And then this could be recentered, I suppose. Where is this anchor set? Alignment begin. I could change this to alignment center. There we go. So we get rid of the cost label. What do you think of HTML5 with the rise of web GPU? I think things like Play Canvas will become more popular. I mean, you can make console grade games that play right in browser. Honestly, I think the limiting factor of like more complex HTML5 games is bandwidth. So like, yeah, a small 2D game will load in a reasonable amount of time, even on a lower bandwidth connection. But I think what's preventing that from getting more like widespread adoption, well, number one, you need to be online to access it, right? You can't like just natively download it and run it on your machine. So that wouldn't be useful for situations where you have no connection. But then, you know, there are a lot of people in the world that don't have very quick internet connections. And so if you're trying to load a game, like let's say it's a simple 3D game and it's a gigabyte with all assets included and compressed, most people are not going to be able to download a gigabyte in a reasonable amount of time. So I think that's the big limitation with like web-based games. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Like if you can distribute your game over the web, might as well do it, you know. But I think, yeah, I don't know if it's going to become super popular anytime soon. Like I think the main distribution is going to be downloaded on your machine and play it, you know. 3.js does exist that can do 3D scenes with lighting and all the browser with very high performance, right? I guess you can run it with Electron offline, but yeah, things like Roblox are going for it. I don't think that's a big problem. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The other problem with online games is like saving data. I think most online games will save your data to like local storage in the browser. Unless they like connect to an online account, which can save your data to that account. And the problem with storing data as local storage is that's kind of volatile. I mean, it should exist for a long period of time, but if you clear your browser data, then you'll just wipe all your save games and stuff. I think that's another problem as well. Unreliable, persistent storage. Plus things like games being made to be run on browsers still has the same issue as downloading the game from someplace else anyway. Back in the days where we have a lot of Flash games, there was only one. Uh-oh, the message got cut off. Old games like Flash stored locally, but Roblox, for example, has data stores. You can make similar things in HTML5 too, as far as it's small data. Right. But the thing is, if you just have like a single player game and you're delivering it over the browser, do you really want to set up all that stuff to persistently and reliably store user data? I remember the Flash game days, though. Go to addictinggames.com or whatever. That was fun. Additional cards to pick. We get rid of this. Did I remove where... Oh, on clicked. Right, so I need to get rid of this cost here as well. Get rid of this on clicked. Get rid of this. Get rid of the clickable validator. Okay, let's see if that does it. But if you are saving lots of data in the browser, then it's best to save it in IndexedDB instead of local storage. I think that's the same problem though, right? Like you could still clear that data. Single player is going to suck if that's the only way to store data, right? Not that you can protect your games against theft, but stealing browser-based games is probably the easiest too. That might be true. Yeah. Learning Godot, also welcome Cody Robinson. Learning Godot, I'm trying to copy some from my memories. It's a good way to practice. That is a good way to practice, yeah. Could steal single player games, but if we make all games on a multiplayer platform like Roblox, then no stealing. Yeah. Okay, so we do this. What am I testing? Oh, boosters. Let's find a booster. Hello, cat. Do you want to see the stream? Do you want to say hi to the stream? Do you want to say hi to the stream? Ah, stop squirming. This is for your own good. He's like, what the heck? Where are you going? Okay, all right. Booster here. Contains poison and alchemical cards, contains fire and relic cards, contains heal and weapon cards. +1 to tier. Okay, I don't want to do +1 to tier. So total cards. Where am I actually setting that text? Oh, here. Get rid of this one. Cards to pick. Oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of this. Get rid of that, get rid of this. Additional tier, we're gonna get rid of that. Let's see. Okay. So cute. I'm actually very hyped about this. I was a Flash addict as a kid and love web-based game. Can't wait for WebGPU to be accessible. Then we'll have glorious comeback. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be... I think there will be a place for browser games for sure, especially small games. And I think engines like Godot are going to readily support that kind of stuff, or already do. Ooh, dragon. Goodbye. 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 Okay, I think that's working appropriately. So now all the boosters are free, and you can choose preserve, damage, minion. So every booster offers, like, so for example on this will contain one card that has a preserve ability, it will contain one card that is a relic, and it will contain a third random, totally random card. Same with this one. It will contain one that's damage, one that's a ritual, and one that's random, so on and so forth. So this, the first card should be a poison card, the second card is a minion card, and the third card is just random. And duplicates are allowed in boosters, so it is possible to get two of the same card within a booster. Which is nice because you may actually want to use a duplicate card to like stack some power. Damage and alchemical cards, we do this. It's got a damage, this is an alchemical. The giant squid. That frog needs to be redrawn, I'm sick of looking at that thing. Sick of looking at it. Future looks bright with microtransactions and ads. Yeah, maybe Web3 will make a comeback too. Microtransactions, ads, Web3, blockchain, NFTs. This is a future we can only hope for. Did that work correctly? Hold on a second. Oh, it's changing to 4 immediately. That's wrong. Let me fix that. But anyway, make all boosters free. So that's done. I'll just mark that over as done. Let's fix that earned currency stuff. Currency manager. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. Currency manager. Oh, the problem is that I'm calling this 2 separate times. Oh, I see. So the problem is I'm calling this add residue instead of, so with the blood, I just say add blood and here's the amount. It could be 5, it could be 10, whatever. And that animates a bunch of those blood icons over to the currency, and then it increments that display blood by 1 every time. But I'm doing a slightly different thing with the residue. I'm calling add residue every time for each card on the alchemy board. And I'm only adding 1 at a time. And so what's happening is that when that first tween finishes, it's just forcing the display residue to be the current residue. So that means that when that first tween finishes, instead of incrementing by 1, it's actually just immediately setting the display blood to the current residue, which will be something like, 2 or 3 more than what it should be incrementing. So how do I fix that? Honestly, I'm not even sure that I need this block of code here. This was just a safety block of code that I added to make sure that the amount of currency displayed in the UI is always equal to the actual amount of currency you have. This wasn't actually done. This was done defensively. This was not done to fix any particular issue. So it's possible I could just delete this and it would work. The other thing that I could potentially do is do some kind of tween chaining in here. So what this is doing is this is iterating over the amount that's being played. I wonder if I could, let me think. Yeah, there's not going to really be a nice way of doing this. Shoot. What am I going to do about this? I mean, it's a minor issue, but I do want it to be nice. One thing I could do let me just do some experimentation here. I actually don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to do a list of tuples here. No, this is not going to work either. Maybe it will. What if I change this to... I'm absolutely destroying this, but we're going to get it to work. From positions.count, play from position I, positions I. We will make this return a tween. Let's comment that out. No, we don't want to return the tween there. We want to return it out here. Instance.createTween. No. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Tween sub tween. Okay, that should work. Return the tween here. And play earned currency. Add residue. Amounts and positions. This isn't going to work either. Okay, this approach is not going to work. Well, what I could do is... Let me think. Do I need this block of code here? Maybe I'll just do a little bit of a hacky solution here. We'll just do a hacky solution and we'll call it good. Private int animating residues. Animating residues plus plus. Did I name this wrong? Oh, instance.animating residues plus plus. Instance.animating residues minus minus. No, this would have to be if is residue. If instance.animatingResidues equals 0, then we'll set the display residue here. Okay, that's a little bit not so good, but it's okay. We're gonna see if that works. I'm gonna head out early. I have tutorials to watch. Sounds good. Thanks for stopping by, Kenya. It's always good to see you, and I hope you have a good day. Thought I was going to miss the entire stream because I overslept, and here we are still live. Yeah, I've been enjoying the longer streams lately, mostly because, like, typically I was doing shorter streams for the past week or so, mostly because I was still kind of trying to think about these design issues, and a lot of the stream time was just being taken up with me kind of not knowing what to do. But now that I've got these new things in place, there's a lot of stuff to do like that. I actually have a good direction, and so that helps quite a bit. Okay, that got fixed, so that's good. That got fixed. Just try it again. So now we've got Ninja Link. We've got some residue animations now for the alchemy system. Those are going to need sound effects and whatnot as well, but I think it's looking good. I think those residues are going a little bit too high as well, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to change this to smaller radius. And then in here, smaller radius, true. Let's try that. We'll see how that works. Oh, but that increases the speed as well. We're just throwing all kinds of arguments on here. Oh, I forgot to... This is a mess, but that's okay. I think I like that better. I think I like that better. Oh, that is nifty. You like it? So if I bring this over, boom. There's the alchemical reagents, and then I can sell this guy, and that will be faster. Very cool. Okay. Fix display residue bug. Okay. Add card overflow system. That's done. New art for grow board event allows selection of cardinal directions. So every unchosen card gives a residue. That's neat. Yeah, yeah. So you do get a slight reward for, even though you can only choose one output, you'll get your alchemical residue out of that. And then you will be able to use that alchemical residue for alchemy. Or for unlocking your board, I mean. Yeah. Makes you want to do really big alchemies at the same time to save on blood. Yeah, that's a good point actually. So right now the alchemy system, it actually scales in cost based on the input cards. I may actually change that. I could make it either a fixed cost to do alchemy. See how this increases? So the cost is equal to the number of cells that are occupied. So this is 6 cells and the cost is 6. Now there is a disproportionality to this, right? Which is that this is 4 cells, so the blood cost is increased, but you still get just 1 alchemical residue out of it. But if I did a bunch of smaller cards, this would give me the same amount of alchemical residue and cost less. The other option is to give alchemy a fixed cost no matter how many inputs you put in. That is an interesting idea. Do I want to do something like that? Do a fixed cost for alchemy no matter how many inputs there are? Maybe not. I think it feels all right the way that it is now, so maybe I'll just keep that. Something to think about, I guess. I think your current method is probably fine for now. It's a fun trade-off for alchemy. Yeah, I think, thinking back to the playtest that I did yesterday, I did like how that felt. So I don't think I'm going to change anything here. But what I also did is I also made the boosters free, Ninja Link. So instead of having 3 different booster choices that one is free and the other 2 cost money, I made these all free and also removed the extra bonuses. Because now there's actually a meaningful choice, right? You can get a choice between 3 different ability types and also different tag types. So I think that's enough of a difference, and I got rid of the different costs of, because I never spent money on the boosters. So now they're just all free. You have a choice of 3 there. Yeah, I like it. I think it's fine. Okay, all right. Alchemy doesn't seem expensive at all. Well, expensive is relative, right? It's kind of relative to how, what your earning potential is. And you don't get that much blood, generally speaking. So this alchemy here, I have 15 blood right now. If I do this, that's 7 blood. So that's almost half of my current currency. And if I go to this combat encounter here, this only gives me 6 blood. So this alchemical result costs more than what I'll get out of that combat. So the alchemy doesn't seem expensive because the numbers are low, but relative to your blood earning potential, it actually is a good chunk of your income. And when I was doing the playtest yesterday, I was actually running into issues where I had to carefully spend my blood because I was doing alchemy all the time. Free boosters, but I scalped them all to feel for profit. Nice. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with how everything is looking right now. Apart from all the rest of the stuff that I have to do. So unfortunately, this to-do list is not really getting that much smaller, but we're still working toward the playtest. I've got some art that I want to do. I also probably should add some new content. I want to take a look at the artifacts as well. I don't think the artifacts are that great, so maybe that'll be part of it as well. Let me do this. Do a pass on artifact power. Okay, I'm going to try really hard from this point onward and not to add any new major things to the to-do list so we can actually get through it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of your support. Again, if you would like to, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. Would very much appreciate that if you would go and do that. That can help me out a lot. You can also check out the Patreon, and you can also... what else? Well, what is the other thing you can do? Oh, join the Discord. All that good stuff. So yeah, let's see. I had 2 monitors, but today I unplugged one and now everything feels smooth. My PC isn't bad. Could be that my PC just isn't designed for 2 or more monitors. Well, there's a couple of things to check. 1, check if your monitors have the same refresh rate. And number 2, check if you have like G-Sync or FreeSync enabled. I actually have a G-Sync capable monitor, or 2 G-Sync capable monitors, but I turned G-Sync off because it created some weird like frame rate drops when like loading games and stuff. So I actually turned that off. But yeah, those would be the 2 main things to check. Make sure the monitors are running at the same refresh rates, and also make sure that, or try turning off G-Sync or FreeSync and see if that helps. All right, take care everyone. I hope you have a good day. I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, bye-bye.